everyone. My name is Coach Phil Vetrano. I have my MBA. I'm a independent college and career coach, and I help students and parents navigate the overwhelming college and career process. It is not easy. I want to thank you for joining us today in this great opportunity for a little personal development on parenting teens and next gen, which is really important. And parenting is not easy. And so it is a very difficult job. It's 24/7 for the rest of your life. As long as you have your kids, you're always a parent. And certainly there's no parent school that most parents go to. Actually, there's no requirements of any sort of parent education to be a parent. And so I'd like you to think about that and say, wow, I've got a career and I've learned a lot in my career. I've got lots of different skills that I've learned, and I'm always constantly learning tools to accomplish my job a little faster, a little easier. However, I'm not in that frame of mind when I'm, in the world of parenting. Parenting teens are really difficult. They're going through some, difficult times. Peer pressure is really, really high. And this is their world, is what other people think. And they care about what others think. And now being a teenager is even more difficult than we've had it when, if you're a parent. The social media, you are now on public display. They're messaging each other. Everything is public now, as long as they're using their phones, unless they don't have their phones and they're not using them. So this is how you prevent being in public. However, your friends or classmates or your peers or other people who may not like you, they may be spreading information about you publicly across the school, across the town, across the world. Why is it across the world? Because you have access to a variety of groups, and it's really hard for a teenager. And now they're on pins and needles all the time, not being themselves, because you never know what information is getting out there. So this is what you're up against. You've never gone through this teen process by having cell phones with your friends and your peers when you were in high school. And so this is your disadvantage, or this is all of our disadvantages, unless we are armed with great strategies to support our kids in these challenging environments. And so today we're going to talk about next gen and help them with their career and to be career and community leaders. And so one important thing I share with all families, all adults, all students is that Mark Twain has this quote, and he says, "There's two best days of your life: the day you're born and the day you figure out your purpose." And so if we were all in society thinking about that, this is a goal for everyone, to know and understand what your passions are and what your purpose is. And if students don't know what their passion is or what their purpose is, this is a really important goal for them to have, is to want to know what they're passionate about, what their purpose is. And so if they are motivated enough and they're open-minded enough to explore different areas of interest and hobbies, to find out what they really like and interested in. And so I know sports is a big interest to a lot of adults as well as to students. And so this is one of the times that they're spending a lot of time and investment of their time to learn different sports. And so this is one example of an interest that they have, and they may have their purpose, that they enjoy playing soccer, playing lacrosse, playing football, playing basketball, playing baseball, all these different activities. And it's it's structured. There's leaders associated with it. There's coaches associated with it. And they may be doing a great job with your kids, or they may not be doing a great job with your kids in teaching them a variety of skills to work as a team. And so team building is a great opportunity for them to learn and interact with each other, to understand what the goals are, to understand the drills, to work together as a team. But that may not be happening, within the team environment, based on the leadership of the coaching, or they're going to just play their best players and could care less about the other kids who are trying their best to get on the field. That's a different conversation. However, but if they're not interested in sports, because we're really organized, we have travel teams, we have school teams, and this is an outlet, easy outlet, and easily accessible for students to try out on these teams, or sign up to these teams. But that's not necessarily the ideal for setting up your kids for leadership opportunities in careers and community efforts. So some of these students are thriving on these teams from an athletic perspective, and they're really good, and they're really strong, and they'll continue being, the best on the teams. Some are just going through the motions because they like the social environment and like to be on the team, like to play the sport. And some are just along because they don't know what other interests that they have, and mom and dad has told them that they should do this, and they are doing this. So that's the sports arena, very organized. However, what are the other organized activities that students could participate in and determine if this is something that they're interested in, the hobby? So there's the arts, and there are separate cultural art programs that they could join. There's robotics. There's lots of interest that even colleges are offering this from a summer camp perspective. You can certainly share that with your kids. But the most important thing is, are they identifying their purpose from a career perspective? And when they're a teenager, now we're in the teenagers' years, they've graduated from 8th grade, they know that the grades count because mom and dad have told them that the grades count. The teachers have endlessly told them that the grades count now. And the school system and the parents generally want to, get all those students prepared for college. And but they're mostly focused on college more than careers. And so lesson number one was to identify to help sorry, I keep saying student, your child needs to have a goal. And I will say needs to have a goal because you want them to have purpose. Suicidal rates for students is high. It's because they may not have their purpose, or there's a lot of things that are going on. They're stressed, they're depressed, and passionate projects and passionate activities will help them overcome some of this depression and anxiety because they love what they do. And that's what you want them to strive for, finding something that they love to do, love to enjoy. And more importantly, when they're a teenager, here's lesson number two, is to help them find what they're interested in learning and studying from a career perspective. What are those skills that they're really good at or they don't know about? So there's 131 career skills that they could be interested in. So as a parent, are you responsible for educating your child in these career skills? Are you counting on the high schools to teach your kids these career skills? So these are interesting questions. And so I say, and I'm an analyst, and so when I'm working on a project or an activity, I want to know, what do I need to be successful? And so if I'm a parent, and by the way, full disclosure, I only was learning this as my teenagers were going to college. So I've lost the opportunity, and I see the huge opportunity for parents. And that's why we're having this webinar, is to educate you and share with you some nuggets of information so that you can utilize the experience that I did not have, but the knowledge I have, to consider something that you may not have planned before. And so I ask you, does your child like to learn? So you have to determine, what do they like to learn? And this is something that you could get in front of them. So if you were to utilize my services, I have a list of 131 career skills. The students and the parents could go through this list and they will be knowledgeable and be aware that there's such a list. And these are things that they could be aspiring to and be interested in. And guess what? Those skills are related to careers. And what's interesting is that if you identify a few skills that they'd like to learn more about, and they start learning them and practicing them, now they could help them guide them in a variety of different careers where if you're really good at this skill, here's the 7, 10, or careers that you may be interested in, as opposed to pigeonholing students to ask them, oh, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And that's a big question. It's a hard question. The question is, are they knowledgeable in all the areas of careers of their choices? Sounds overwhelming, doesn't it? Well, there is a methodology that I have that I'm sharing the inventory of career skills with the methodology that I have, as well as the categories of topics that they may be interested in learning more about. So if they're not being asked these questions and provided options, they only have what they know. And so, and as I hope as you get older, you realize how much you don't know, right? We're not experts in everything, and we're maybe experts in a few things. And so that is also the mindset that you'd like to have with your kids, with your children, is to identify what are those subjects that they really enjoy. And if it's not school, right? If they're limited, your choices are limited with school. It is the math, it's the English, it's the social studies, it's the sciences, and a couple of electives. And then you got the gym class, you've got the arts class. That is a limited list of things that students may not be interested in. And so what is it that they would be interested in? And the world, it's a long list of topics that they're not teaching in high school. And the question is, how are they going to make a decision in 12th grade without knowing and at least being aware of what their options are? And so most parents don't have this mindset of, hey, I'm going to come up with a plan to help my child with this 12th grade decision. And this is something that's really important. It's the biggest decision they're going to make. And have you taught them how to make a decision? If you've been making the decisions for them and you haven't shown them how you've made those decisions, and if you're making those gut decisions, how are you teaching them gut decisions? So I've worked in corporate America, and I've learned that there are decision-making models. How many families are using decision-making models for big, significant decisions for their kids? So voila, here's a nugget of information. There are decision-making models that can be used, and it's based on logic and common sense and analysis. And so the question for you is, do you know and understand these decision-making models? Are you going to teach your kids how to utilize these decision-making models? Or are you going to count on someone else to share this incredible knowledge with your kids so that they could make better decisions? So this is a question for the parents. Parents, do you want your kids to make great decisions? In order to make great decisions, they have to practice. And so one of the things that I'd like to share with you is from a leadership perspective. So this is next gen leaders. This is the theme, next gen leaders for career and community. So the question is, what do they want to be an expert in that they can lead a project? They can lead others. And the question is, are they getting those skills in order to lead the next generation? And so the question is, are they practicing? Are they learning a specific subject that they can lead? And how's their level of confidence in communication skills? So these are just a taste of the skills that are needed if you want to help your student become a leader in the community and or from a career perspective, they can also be a leader because there's huge opportunities because not, I mean, maybe 1 or 2% of students know exactly what they want and they're going after it. And that's what you're looking for in your child. What's the fire? Where's the motivation that they are eager to learn and understand about the skills and careers of others? So I know that there's students who say, oh, I've wanted to be a doctor since I was 8. I've wanted to be a pilot since I was 8. Quick story. A mom was hearing how her son wanted to be a pilot since 8 years old. 11th grade, still wants to be a pilot. And what has he done? 0. He's done 0 to learn about and understanding about a pilot. But he's got this aspiration and dream. Wow, that's wonderful. Wonderful. So now she knows, she gets she finds out there's a pilot that she knows. And she has an opportunity to have the 11th grader go in a plane for the first time. And so they're on the airport strip. He's going on a small plane, 15 minutes up, 15 minutes down. 11th grader comes off the plane and says to his mom, I no longer want to be a pilot. Boom. A instant of 15 minutes, but for 7 years, 8 years, this student, her son wanted to be a pilot. And now she knows that he doesn't want to be a pilot. So the question is, what's next? He has no next. Why? Because he was set in his ways that he wanted to be a pilot, and there was no mentor. There was no pilots that were having a conversation with the 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11th-year-old ever to find out and understand more about what's being a pilot, what has become a pilot. So this is the diligence. This is the time that you're investing in your kid to say, if they've got an interest, are they motivated to do anything about it? And or if they just don't know how because of obvious reasons, they've never done this before, right? How many millions of students are graduating high school who've never done this before? They've never made a 12th grade decision. They've never actually did any of the activities that they say they want to do. There is a statistic that is really sad. 42% of students who go to college will not graduate in 6 years. That's 10 million students. 10 million students had an idea or didn't have an idea of going into college, and they did not complete their degree. Why? Because they weren't provided the necessary guidance along the way to ensure that they were making good decisions. And high schools could talk all they want about getting students ready for college. Guess what? 10 million students were not ready for college. Are you doing a great job? No. So why are you counting on the high schools to prepare your son or daughter for college? What you should be doing is you should be part of this role and being a great parent to surround your son or daughter with mentors, with other people who have great knowledge, to expose them to a variety of different careers, to help them along this path. Because if you're not doing that, they are at a disadvantage. You're rolling the dice. There is no plan. And this is not the best situation for your son or daughter. Now, there's a lot of parents that will just hope that it all works out. I will tell you, hope is not a good plan. I'm an analyst. You want to set up your kid for success, you've got to work the plan. You've got to show them how to plan. So I'll give you an example from a next-gen leadership. Imagine, and let's talk about something fun and exciting. Imagine you've made a trip to Disney World or Disneyland, and you'd like your son or daughter to play a leadership role. And you're going to teach your son or daughter how to be the leader of this incredible opportunity to visit a variety of different amusements along the path of Disney. And so now you're teaching your son or daughter how to plan ahead before you get to the amusement park, without a plan, you're just going from site to site haphazardly without effectively seeing all the things that you want to see in an organized fashion, an organized way, with a lot of detailed information to say, what's the ideal path to go down to see the most important amusements of that park to ensure that you've had a fulfilling day. So there's knowledge, there's research and time, and then they're making decisions and you're helping them and supporting them along the way. And this is fun. This is exciting. They're going to be excited about doing this activity because it involves fun and entertainment. And now you're teaching them how the process of planning ahead so that you have a specific map of where you're going to go first, where you're going to go next, and so on and so forth. And your son or daughter is going to make choices of what's the priority amusement, amusements to hit and or, shows to go to and the times that they're going to. This can be an incredible leadership opportunity for your child to lead your family along this path of excitement for the day. And you could talk about backup plans associated with what if this line is way too long? What are we going to do next? So this is a great example of teaching them critical thinking, teaching them how to lead. It's also teaching them how to make good decisions. And there's books on the anticipated lines, which ones are the most popular. You could do all this research and fun and show your loved one this activity. Now, it doesn't have to be Disney World or Disneyland. It could be anything. Can you not take the responsibility of leading your family? Can you put that onus on your child that you're asking them, can you be the leader of this project? And then you're supporting them in a way where either you're surrounding them with mentors and supporters to accomplish this activity that they're interested in doing, and can you let go of the control that they are going to lead the way? And this is one example of providing opportunities for your son or daughter to actually lead the family in an activity, and they're making the decisions. And are you supporting them in their decision-making process? Because if you want them to be a leader, they've got to practice. If you want them to be a leader, they need skills to be a leader. And communications is one of them. So is your son or daughter buried behind the cell phone where they're just communicating with their classmates and unknown strangers on this world? Or are they meeting people and talking to people that you know and trust, and that the students are caring, that they care about your kids? And so this is the recipe for helping them with communication skills when you're introducing them to professionals. And get rid of that, don't talk to strangers. No. You should be introducing your son or daughter to as many professionals that you know so they could get exposed, and that it's normal. It's normal to be introduced as an 8th grader to an adult to learn a little bit about what they do. And the adult has the onus of, is there something fun and interesting that you can tell this 8th grader about your job? And can they do it? And or are they miserable in their job? And they'll share some of the challenges of their job. And that's okay too. I say to students, you want to learn the good, the bad, and the ugly of careers. And obviously you don't just use one data point. That most miserable person who their parents forced them in this career, they had no choice, they still do it, and now they're sharing their misery to the family. I actually know someone who said that there's a lawyer in the family, and he's making oodles of money, but he complains all the time. Nobody wants to be around the rich lawyer who's a family member who complains and is miserable all the time. So did he make a good choice of the career that he has, where he is unhappy, and or the environment that he works in the firm? But anyway, the short story is that you want to help your child develop important skills. And you want your child to be exposed to having conversations with professionals, even if the professionals are speaking 95% of the time, sharing knowledge about their career. It is tremendously helpful and valuable for your student to engage and be interested in this activity. Okay, so what if they're zero motivation? So I've been in high schools where the students are zombies. Why? Because 90% are sleep deprived because they're on their phones at night, late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. This is not a success model for our future generation. They're not going to be strong leaders. They're just going to wither away with their phones and get by life. I've spoken to so many teachers who've said that students were eager for extra help when there were tests coming up. And this was before COVID. After COVID, they could care less about their scores. Attendance in New York is horrible. The absenteeism is booming for students, and the parents, they're besides themselves. They can't get their loved one to school because they say they tried everything. So where am I going with this? We have at Helpopedia, we have got parent coaches, we've got tutors. You can reach out to Helpopedia and get the support you need, because I'm not an expert in helping your son or daughter be motivated. That's not my specialty. But if they're motivated, we could do a lot. But if they're not motivated, I feel your pain. It's not easy being a parent. And you'll have your 2 or 3 strategies that don't work. And then you'll say you'll try, oh, I tried everything with my son. And then you'll talk to other parents because they're all experts in parenting. No, no. If you're serious about making an impact to your son or daughter, you need to talk to experts who do this all the time and see the results. They have statistics on the different tactics that are effective. You shouldn't be, you shouldn't assume that they're just going through a phase. If you care about your son or daughter and you want to get them the help they need, don't wait. Ask for help, right? As adults, asking for help is hard. Are you teaching your loved one how to ask for help, who to ask for help? These are important components from a career perspective and a community perspective, because your loved one doesn't know everything. And the question is, what do they do when they don't know everything? Are they just going to Google it and hope that information is going to be right? Because you can Google all you want. There's no support in actually doing the activity that you just Googled. And if they've never done something before and they're reading something and this is how it's going to help them, they've never done it before, guess what? They're not going to do it. But they know, oh, this is the way that someone, this is a strategy that may work, but they may not. They may not try it, and most students will not try it. All right, so let's. I've got a comment in the chat from Nivedita. Let's read it. Most kids as freshmen have no idea how to choose a major in college. Considering that being the first step is considering a career, how to choose one. Yes, so what I've seen that has successfully worked for me is the methodology that I use. I share with the students, here are your choices. And that helps tremendously, because they're going to either be intrigued by the topic or they're going to skip the topic. But they're going to pick at least one topic. I've never had a student that has looked at the topics that I've shared and there's been zero interest in anything. It doesn't happen. And or they just could care less and they don't want to do this activity of learning. They may not be interested in learning. And that's where I can't help you. I can't help you if your kid is not interested in learning more. You'll need other parent coaches' advice to help you with that level of motivation and psychology. Okay, are there any procedures to help a student decide on one? Absolutely, there's a process. And it is a learning process for them, because there's sometimes, and students do this all the time, they have an idea of what they want to learn, and then they're just waiting for the classes to come. And guess what? Once they're in the class, after 2 or 3 weeks, they realize, oh my goodness, what did I sign up to? oh my goodness, I'm hitting a ceiling on understanding this biochemistry course. And if I'm struggling now in sophomore year, what's it going to be like in junior or senior? Well, I will tell you, college students are not proactively understanding what they're signing up to. You may have not done this activity yourself. You never looked at what classes you were needed to take to complete a degree and understand the depth of it. Oh my goodness. This is a method of proactive parenting, of getting to understand what it is that your son or daughter needs to be successful, to make great decisions. It requires the work to be, it requires work and effort to know and understand what they're signing up to. And that's not easy for them because they don't even have the goal of shopping around and understanding what they're signing up to. They will hear, and parents will do the same thing. They'll hear about that college. Oh, that's a great college. Oh, excellent. Get into that college. It has nothing to do with the individual student of whether that's a great college or not. Has nothing. So all these prestigious schools, oh, go to this school, go to this school. Oh, that's a good school. That's a school. There's a process in order to find the best fit college. And it's a unique individual process. But you haven't learned this because no one showed it to you. And if no one shows you something, you're not going to know what to do. So you're rolling the dice when your son or daughter is haphazardly picking colleges, and maybe they're picking it based on their major. Great, they're picking it based on the major. Well, did you know there's 100 variables associated with picking a college? No, you did not. And does your son or daughter know there's 100 variables? No, they do not. Do you think guidance counselors say that there's over 100 variables? No, they do not. They just say, research, research, research. Isn't that easy? Just research the college. There's 1,300 of them that have 1,000 students or more in the United States. And there's over 3,000 colleges in the United States. Oh, boy, is that an easy process to select colleges. And then they use okay, just narrow it down based on state, based on commuting, based on the distance. But this is, again, very high level selection process and not necessarily detailed to help students with this process. All right, so let's talk about, okay, it's 12:38. Are there any other questions and or comments that folks would like to ask who are here today live with Coach Phil?
I would like to ask a quick question. I thought of typing it on the chat, but I saw that it's taking more time. So I'm not sure whether this is a silly question, but just for my knowledge, are online internships considered to be equally, is given equal importance compared to in-person internships? Like say, for example, say something that can be done online, but if someone goes to a firm actually to get that training, is that considered to be better or more effective compared to if it's done online by a high school student?
Sure, sure. So from a high school student perspective, I don't know if they own cars and or they're going to count on their parents to drive them to the internship and how far that is. And when we say internship, I'm not sure if some students are doing internships just because they're internships and it has nothing to do with their career interest or the field they're interested in, but they landed an internship. Some are paid, some are unpaid. And the question is whether online internships are better or than in-person internships. Well, I will share with you, both are equally valuable, but the question is the scope. The scope of the internship is the most important. And so what is the scope of the internship? Is the person going to be doing lots of different activities and learning lots of skills in person? Are they learning more skills and being supported online? And so I know if the internship is online, there can be more possibilities because online will connect you with other professionals. And so if you are working for a company, it's easily more attainable to connect with those professionals, especially if it's a big company. And if you're doing your homework, because if it's a big company and it's not just you're going in person and there's 5 people that work there and all 5 people go there, definitely a different situation. But if you're working for a big company and they're all over the place and you want to meet other professionals in that company as part of your internship, because I'm a proactive, creative guy. And the goal should be part of that internship is to meet as many professionals as possible in the different departments that they're in if the student is interested in. But the student has to be shown how to do this. Because if you just tell your son or daughter, meet as many people as possible, it's through one ear and out the other. Again, this is a big reminder. If you're the dictator in the family and you're telling your kids what to do, you know your success rate of how many times they're going to listen to you and drive that process by themselves. It's not the success factor is really low. So parents, this is a valuable piece of information. I know you are sharing great knowledge with your kids, but if you're not showing them how to do the message that you shared, and maybe they don't want you to show them. Maybe they don't want to go through this process with you because you've already set the precedent of working with you as a parent to the daughter and the son. If it's a turbulence kind of relationship, you're not off to a good start. And so this is the expectation that you have to manage with your kids, is that if you really want to teach them something, you've got to get their full attention and their interest that they want to do this with you. If they don't want to do this with you, it's like torture. It's like if your parents are going to teach you something, what's your mindset? You got to do this role play for yourself. If you are excited about your parents teaching you something, God bless you. I hope that's the same excitement that your kids have, that you're going to teach them something. So this is why it's really better to start early, when it's normal for your kids to see the normal behavior by you and by the professionals. Because if you start saying, oh, you should do this in 12th grade, 12th grade, 12th grade, 12th grade, and you haven't set the foundation of preparing them to meet professionals, it's that much harder. The mountain gets bigger every year. It gets bigger every year. You have to start early. Everything in life, I don't know anything that you always have to start early. It's either savings, financial literacy, everything, education and knowledge. You want to be proactive. You want to start early. The later in life, it's like teaching the old dog new tricks. You want to get in there with your child, have a good time and enjoy the learning process, meeting other people, hearing different perspectives, and then it's a much better model than the conflict kind of activity with your child, is where they're not listening to you. They don't want to hear from you. They'll do what's opposite of you. At that point, get help, get support, and count on your spouse or your significant other to be and that could be a strategy, right? You're utilizing another adult to help guide your son or daughter to make better decisions and prepare them for next gen leadership and community leadership. Okay, we've got 6 minutes remaining. I will share with you, there are so many opportunities for your son or daughter to do things that interest them, that they'd want to do. But if you're not presenting those options and ideas that other adults can support them, you have blind spots. And so the blind spots, to address the blind spots, is I recommend having a professional like myself or someone else who cares about your kids to walk through the options that your son or daughter has, to be interested and intrigued about skills that they can learn, about topics they can learn, about careers that they can learn, to help them be better prepared for the career process. Most students, even in college, are ill prepared for the career process. They're taking classes, they're enjoying their times with their friends, they may be trying to get an internship or two, but they're really not getting ready for a career unless they're in a career major. And when I say career major, I mean like nursing. I mean like even the elementary teachers and the teachers, they have the colleges set them up better because they're going to be practicing and preparing for that career. Those are good majors to be in because they really set themselves up. So if you have a business career, if you're learning business topics, not necessarily you're going to be set up at the college level to be supported like nurses do, like teachers do. Teachers, they have access to education and academics, and they're an academic institution. It's easy for them. And they have great relationships with hospitals as well from a nursing perspective. Nurses are always in demand. So if you're in a career profession, of course, the trades, if you're in a trade school, of course, they're focused on getting the kids jobs because they're learning trades. So welding or electricians, they're setting the kids up for success. And that's the other part of the career question is if they don't have this support system that the colleges offer, and you're all on your own to figure this out, the students need support and help and practice while they're in college to network, to identify career opportunities and internship opportunities. But you can't just rely on them to figure this out by themselves. It's a big ask. Think about yourself. Imagine if you were to revisit yourself when you were 15 or 16. The amount of knowledge that you would share with yourself is extraordinary. The question is, do you want to offer that knowledge to your kids? And will they listen to you? Are you going to show them? And or are you going to count on someone else to share this valuable information to them? Because if they have relationships with other adults, it's a good thing. They have somebody else to go to besides mom and dad. And this is something that you want. You want to set them up with great mentors. And certainly there's a level of trust that you're counting on the mentor. You could certainly touch base with them to understand the status and what they're going. But if they have the goal to help set your kid up for success, it's ideal. And that's the ideal model. All right. Thank you very much. It's 48 minutes in. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. I hope you were provided valuable nuggets. If you want to learn more, I'm going to put my information in the chat.
I have a quick
And
question, Coach Phil.
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a last question. I really I'm very excited about the last point you said about the career majors. Okay, could you just give an example about some STEM career majors and non-STEM career majors? I believe that this is the main attractive part that parents would love to hear about this. Just making a list, a few names, some examples of STEM career majors and non-STEM career majors.
Sure. So so the math majors, there's a lot of job opportunities, but again, it's the assessment of the engine of the college. Does that specific college that you're looking at, do they have an engine for opportunities for students in these fields? That is the real key question. And from a career perspective, there is no solid, like nursing is everywhere in colleges. If they have a nursing program, they're generally lined up with the hospitals. If there is an academic career, they're lined up with the academics. So like architecture is another one. So architects, it's very and that's the other thing. You have to know before you graduate high school if you want to be an architect. If you make the decision you want to be an architect when you're a junior, guess what? Sign up for 4 to 5 more years of school to be an architect. This is why this is so important. And parents aren't ahead of this in their teenage years to prepare the students to know what their choices are. The engineering too is another one. Engineering, right? Another great source of jobs. Again, but based on the college itself, do they have an engine that you're going to get, like computer engineering, a great career choice and lots of options for students to get jobs. It's just it's in demand. So cybersecurity, homeland security, these types of jobs, they're constantly in demand. So they're going to have an easier time if right now the developers are having an easier time for jobs, but that may come to an end because artificial intelligence is able to develop code and generate code. And so all the people who are learning code may be maybe no it may be something that they're doing less of during the day. Usually you're coding all day, but that's not necessarily may not happen because of artificial intelligence. They'll need to learn the skills of how artificial intelligence is able to create the code, and then you're doing some auditing of the code, but it's less, you're not doing it 8 hours a day because AI can generate the code sooner than you can. And companies are greedy when it comes to making decisions about people's livelihoods. What are they going to do? They're going to do the inexpensive thing that is going to be faster. And nobody can blame anybody that if you want things faster and you want it done right, and you don't care about someone's job, you want it sooner than later, you're going to go after the automation, and no one's going to blame anybody except is that and or you're going after jobs that people respect and want you to do the thing that you love and that they'll pay you for it because they like you or they know that you're going to do a good job, but it's going to take you longer. And so that's what you're up against all the time, is you're competing against technology, especially with digital-based jobs. So nursing is not digitally based, right? It is a different career. Cybersecurity, absolutely digital too. Yeah, AI could impact cybersecurity as well, but it's not here yet. So it's something that you could still pursue, and there's lots of companies hiring in the world of information technology and management information systems. So the most important thing for parents, understand the demands of careers. And you don't have to force your kid to go into a high demand job, but give them the options to understand what that means. And how are you going to do that? You've got to introduce them to professionals who are in the fields that they are interested in, and they're going to share with you, how easy is it to change jobs? How many jobs can you have tomorrow? That's the question to ask. And some parents, they're not looking at opportunities all the time. They just have their job and they continue doing it, but they don't have lots of backup plans. But they may know and understand the industry, or whether it's in demand. Are they getting constant calls from headhunters? That's a good sign. Or are they never getting a phone call? And is that what you want for your child? To be that person who's never getting the phone call, like yourself? And is there something to do to help you be more proactive in your industry, to know that if something does change, which you have no control over, are you prepared to either do something else or get a job that's with a competitor like that? So these are the things to be concerned of. So other STEM, of course, if you are going down the medical field, I mean, absolutely, are there you're required to be working in hospitals if you're in the medical field. So they really set you up from a career perspective. What else? Technician, again, hands-on work. There's the likelihood is you're learning skills that are very relevant and are likely needed because they've set themselves in colleges, and there's usually an engine for jobs if they're technicians. So I hope that helps. Oh, non-STEM is harder. So from a business perspective, right, marketing, finance, there's not generally an engine at every college to get students jobs in marketing, get students jobs in management, get students jobs in finance. Those are those things you have to learn business skills to career planning skills. That's it. You need career planning skills to be able to navigate and search for jobs and then successfully land jobs. Social sciences, anthropology, marine sciences, that's tough. You really have to want it and proactively meet a lot of people in those careers.
Thank you very much, Coach Phil.
You're very welcome. I hope that helped. All right, so let me copy and paste my information in the chat. I hope you had a great enjoyed the messages that I shared today, and I'll be copying and pasting it right here.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. This was great.
You're very welcome, Emily. Okay, there it is. There's all my information in the chat. Again, I'm an independent college and career coach, helping students navigate the overwhelming college and career process. And they all need support. They're all at a disadvantage. Every high school student is at a disadvantage unless they have parents that are doing a job that they know that they want to do because they're exposed to it all the time. That is a great thing to know, is that the student wants to do the job that the parents are doing. And they have intimate information from the parents. They're excited to be there. So I know my dentist, her dad's a dentist. She's a dentist. She hated dental school, but she knew that what the outcome was, and it was to be a dentist. And so if you know and understand what you're signing up to because you're exposed to it, it's a great thing. But if you're not exposed to it and you don't know what you want to do, it's a hard thing. And that's why you could ask for help. Thank you.